Vader had lived for years inside a lie. On Mustafar, he believed Padme had turned against him. In the Emperor's cold version of the past, her fear proved that Anakin Skywalker was weak, foolish, and unworthy. That lie kept Vader obedient. It kept his rage pointed outward. It kept him alive. But the truth came from a broken medical archive hidden deep in Imperial records. A nervous officer found the file by accident while tracing old Naboo security codes. Vader sensed his fear before the words were even spoken. Then, he saw the report for himself. Padme had not betrayed him. She died heartbroken, still loving him. And, before her death, she gave birth to twins. For one long moment, the Dark Lord did not move. Then the room exploded. Screens shattered. Steel twisted. The officer was thrown across the chamber by the Force, spared only because Vader wanted answers. 2 children. His children. Hidden from him while Palpatine fed him grief, guilt, and chains. The pain inside Vader changed shape. It was no longer blind fury. It became purpose. He buried the record at once. No one else could know. Not yet. Across the next weeks, Vader moved like a shadow through his own empire. He ordered secret searches through birth logs, rebel rumors, surviving Jedi reports, and old senators tied to Padme. Every clue pulled him toward one impossible thought. Somewhere in the galaxy, his son and daughter were alive, growing up under stolen names. And for the first time since Mustafar, Vader felt something more dangerous than hate. Hope. Far above Coruscant, Palpatine looked out into the dark and smiled, as if he had heard the shift in the Force. Vader had found the truth at last, and the Emperor was already reaching for the children first. Far above Coruscant, Palpatine looked out into the dark and smiled, as if he had heard the shift in the Force. Vader had found the truth at last, and the Emperor was already reaching for the children first. The truth did more than wound Vader. It changed the shape of every memory inside him. For years, Palpatine had stood at the center of his pain, guiding it, feeding it, turning it into a weapon. Now Vader looked back and saw the pattern. Every word on Mustafar, every command after Padme's death, all of it had been built on a lie. He returned to his private chamber and sealed the doors. Silence filled the black room. Then came the rage. His breathing grew sharp. His fists tightened. Glass cracked around him. The Force answered his grief like a storm. He remembered Padme reaching for him, not in betrayal, but in desperate love. He remembered Palpatine's voice in the operating chamber, cold and certain. "In your anger, you killed her." Vader had believed it. He had carried that guilt like a chain. Now the chain had broken. But suspicion was more dangerous than fury. Fury burned fast. Suspicion endured. It made Vader careful. He began testing the Emperor in small ways. In council meetings, he listened more than he spoke. On military reports, he searched for hidden orders tied to old Jedi worlds, rebel cells, and former Senate families. When Palpatine mentioned Padme even once, Vader felt the lie behind the name. The Emperor noticed the change at once. "You are troubled, Lord Vader," Palpatine said. Vader lowered his head. "I sense unrest in the galaxy, my master." It was true, but not the whole truth. From that moment on, master and apprentice entered a silent war. Vader hunted evidence. Palpatine watched his every move. Neither struck first. Not yet. Then a coded Imperial signal arrived from Obi-Wan Kenobi's last known network. It mentioned a hidden child on Tatooine. Vader said nothing. But beneath his mask, the hunt had already begun. Then a coded Imperial signal arrived from Obi-Wan Kenobi's last known network. It mentioned a hidden child on Tatooine. Vader said nothing, but beneath his mask, the hunt had already begun. Vader did not launch a public search. He could not. The moment Palpatine sensed open interest in the children, the Emperor would move first. So Vader turned inward. To find Luke and Leia, he had to hunt the ghosts of Anakin Skywalker. He returned to places he had spent years trying to forget. Naboo came first. From the shadows, he watched the lakes, the palaces, the quiet paths where Padme once believed the Republic could still be saved. Imperial spies pulled old family records, flight plans, and sealed medical logs. Most gave him nothing, but each scrap brought back another piece of the man buried beneath the armor. Then he searched the remains of the Jedi Purge. He reopened reports on Senator Organa, the Polis Massa evacuation. and every missing file linked to Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Names began to connect. Roots began to form. A child hidden near Kenobi, another tied to Alderaan's royal house. Vader said nothing aloud, but the pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. His obsession grew dangerous. Officers disappeared after reading the wrong report. Inquisitors were sent on false missions so they would stay far from the truth. Even the Emperor's agents found doors closed to them. Still, Vader needed certainty. He traveled alone to Padmé's tomb on Naboo and stood in silence before the woman he had failed. No anger came, only pain, only memory. "I will find them," he said softly. "I swear it." At that moment, his shuttle received an emergency transmission from Alderaan. Princess Leia Organa had just attacked an Imperial convoy and escaped. Vader froze. The names struck like lightning. One child had a face now, and somewhere in the desert of Tatooine, the other was about to be found by the Emperor's hunters before Vader could reach him there. One child had a face now, and somewhere in the desert of Tatooine, the other was about to be found by the Emperor's hunters before Vader could reach him there. Palpatine felt the change before Vader spoke a word. The Emperor had always known his apprentice through pain. Rage was easy to guide, hate was easy to sharpen, but doubt was different. Doubt made Vader quiet, and quiet made him dangerous. From his throne on Coruscant, Palpatine began probing the Force around his servant. Each meeting became a test. Each mission became a trap. He sent Vader after scattered rebel cells, not because they mattered, but because he wanted to watch how Vader moved, what names caught his attention, and what questions he no longer asked. Vader understood the game at once. If he showed too much interest in Tatooine or Alderaan, the Emperor would strike. So he buried his purpose beneath perfect obedience. He crushed pirates. He executed failed admirals. He hunted Jedi survivors with the same cold precision as before. To the Empire, nothing had changed, but inside the mask, everything had changed. He began feeding Palpatine half-truths. Reports were delayed. Witnesses vanished. Inquisitors were redirected toward dead worlds and empty ruins. When one agent uncovered a link between Bail Organa and old Jedi escape routes, Vader killed the file before it reached the throne. Still, Palpatine pressed harder. During one dark audience, the Emperor circled him with words like blades. "You are distracted, Lord Vader. Your thoughts drift to old attachments." Vader dropped to one knee. "My past is dead." Palpatine smiled, but the smile held no warmth. "See that it remains buried." The warning was clear. The Emperor did not know everything yet, but he had seen enough to begin his own search. That same night, an encrypted command left the Imperial Palace for Tatooine. Vader sensed it too late. While he fought to hide his heart, the Emperor had already sent hunters toward Luke first. That same night, an encrypted command left the Imperial Palace for Tatooine. While Vader fought to hide his heart, the Emperor had already sent hunters toward Luke first. Vader reached Tatooine too late to stay invisible, but not too late to change the hunt. Imperial probes had crossed the Dune Sea. Paid informants watched the Lars farm. The Emperor did not know the boy's name yet, but his net was tightening. From the shadows of Mos Eisley, Vader read the reports himself. A pilot, a dreamer, a farm boy tied to Anakin Skywalker's bloodline. Every detail hit him like fire. This was not just a hidden child. This was his son. For the first time in years, Vader felt fear. Not for himself, for Luke. If Palpatine found the boy first, he would never be allowed to live free. He would be twisted into a servant or destroyed as a threat. In that moment, Luke stopped being a rebel target. He became Vader's last chance to save something from the ruins of Anakin Skywalker. So Vader began tearing apart the trap. He erased files, silenced witnesses, and sent Imperial hunters toward false leads. When an Inquisitor traced the Lars homestead, Vader arranged for Tusken Raiders to strike the officer's convoy before the report could leave orbit. Quietly, he became Luke's unseen shield, but he knew protection would not last. The Force moved around the boy strongly. One day, Luke would leave the desert and step into the war. When that happened, Palpatine would try to claim him with the same lies that had destroyed his father. At sunset, Vader watched Luke from a ridge. He saw a boy staring at the horizon, hungry for a larger life. Vader whispered through the mask, "My son." Luke turned slightly, as if he felt the voice. Then blaster fire ripped across the Lars homestead. Smoke rose into the sky. The Emperor's hunters had arrived early, and Vader had one choice left. Then blaster fire ripped across the Lars homestead. Smoke rose into the sky. The Emperor's hunters had arrived early, and Vader had one choice left. Leia did not kneel before the Dark Lord. In the cold chamber above Coruscant, she stood with her chin raised and her wrists locked in Imperial binders. The officers around Vader expected fear. Instead, they heard her say, "You can crush worlds, but you cannot command loyalty." The words struck deeper than any blaster shot. For one terrible second, Vader saw another face over Leia's own, Padme, not on Mustafar, broken and dying, but in the Senate, fierce and unbending, staring down tyrants with calm fire. The memory split through the armor, through the machine, through the name Darth Vader itself. He dismissed the guards before they noticed his silence. That moment changed everything. Vader stopped asking how Leia had learned rebellion and started asking why her courage felt so familiar. He searched old records in secret, erased by Palpatine years before. Fragments remained, medical files, birth timestamps, a sealed report from Polis Massa, twins. The Emperor sensed the shift at once. He called Vader to his private tower and spoke softly, almost kindly. "The girl is a weapon. Break her or she will break you." But now the command sounded less like wisdom and more like fear. Palpatine did not want Leia dead because she was dangerous to the Empire. He wanted her dead because she was dangerous to his lie. So Vader made his first open move. He rerouted Leia's prison transfer, sent loyal stormtroopers away, and cut communication to the escort frigate. Officially, the ship vanished in a rebel raid. Unofficially, Vader was hunting his own daughter through the darkness, not to destroy her, but to reach her before the Emperor could. Then the red alarm screamed across the bridge. Palpatine had sent the Inquisitors first, and for the first time, Vader ignited his blade against them. Vader's blade cut through the first Inquisitor before the man could even ignite his saber. The second tried to reach Leia. Vader hurled him across the corridor and into a blast door hard enough to shatter bone. In that violent instant, Leia understood the truth. The monster hunting her had turned on the Empire to keep her alive. But the chaos spread faster than Vader planned. The stolen frigate stumbled out of hyperspace near Polis Massa's dead orbit, where a rebel cell waited with one more surprise. Luke Skywalker had followed the strange pull in the Force. He came aboard with blaster raised, expecting an Imperial trap. Instead, he found Leia in chains and Darth Vader standing over fallen Inquisitors. Everything stopped. Leia stared at Luke. Luke stared at Vader. Vader stared at the son he had searched for in shadows, and the daughter he had only just chosen not to lose. For one brief moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then alarms wailed. Palpatine had predicted betrayal faster than Vader feared. Imperial destroyers dropped from hyperspace, boxing the frigate in. TIE squadrons screamed forward. The Emperor did not want reunion. He wanted slaughter. Vader made his choice in full view of his children. He cut Leia's binders, pushed Luke toward the cockpit, and said the words neither of them expected. "Run. I will hold them." Luke hesitated. He felt conflict, grief, and something deeper than anger inside the armored giant. Leia felt it too. The truth was ugly, impossible, and suddenly unavoidable. They launched the frigate through a storm of laser fire while Vader marched alone into the hangar. Rebel pilots arriving to extract the twins watched in shock as the Emperor's enforcer ripped through stormtroopers, smashed TIEs apart with the Force, and sealed the blast doors behind him that day. Far away, on Coruscant, Palpatine rose from his throne. He did not order pursuit. He gave a colder command. "Prepare Naboo." Palpatine chose Naboo because he understood Anakin Skywalker better than anyone. He did not send the fleet there for military value. He sent it there because every lake, every palace, every field carried Padme's shadow. If Vader came to save them, he would have to march through the grave of the life he had murdered. That was the Emperor's trap. The news spread through the rebel command ship. Imperial Star Destroyers had entered Naboo space. Landing divisions were moving toward Theed. Mon Mothma wanted a rescue mission. Generals wanted to avoid the system. Leia wanted answers first. She stood in the war room with Luke at her side and watched the holomap burn blue over their faces. "He saved us," she said. "That changes the war." "It complicates the war," Mon Mothma replied. Luke said nothing at first. He still felt Vader inside the Force, not as a monster now, but as a storm tearing itself apart. The truth had broken open too fast. Vader was their father. Their father was the Empire's iron fist. And somewhere over Naboo, he was either falling deeper into darkness or trying to climb out of it. Leia made the choice. We go to Naboo. If the Emperor set a trap, then the trap tells us what he fears. On Naboo, fear arrived in Imperial lines. Walkers crossed the green hills, gunships roared over the rivers, stormtroopers locked down streets that had once welcomed senators, not soldiers. Above them all, Vader's shuttle cut through the clouds and descended alone. He did not come as the Emperor's blade. He came for the truth he had buried. Theed hit him like a wound reopening. The palace walls, the long windows, the polished halls where Padme had once walked. Each step dragged memory behind it. He heard her laugh in corridors. He saw her hand reaching for his on a balcony. For the first time, Darth Vader hated the sound of his own breathing. Then Palpatine spoke through the speakers. "Welcome home, Lord Vader." The throne room doors sealed. Red guards emerged from the shadows. In the center of the room stood a holoprojector showing Luke and Leia's ship dropping from hyperspace. The Emperor smiled. "You have always been easy to lead when love is involved." Vader's fists clenched. "Leave them out of this." Palpatine's eyes narrowed. "You built this empire with me. You drowned worlds in fear. You hunted the Jedi to extinction. Do not pretend redemption now, because two frightened children carry the name you lost." That struck deeper than any weapon. Because it was true. While Vader stood frozen, the second phase began. Imperial forces opened fire on civilian districts outside Theed, not to win a battle, not to hold a world, just to force a choice. Save the children, save the people, save what remained of Padme's memory. Vader could not save all of it. So he stopped trying to serve the Empire and started trying to break it. He tore the holoprojector apart with the Force. He crushed the speaker array. Then he moved. His saber flashed red through the throne room as the guards fell one after another. Pikes shattered. Marble cracked. The great doors burst open under a wave of pressure that sent stormtroopers flying across the hall. Outside, the battle exploded in every direction at once. Leia led a strike team through the streets, turning civilians into a moving resistance line. Luke raced toward the palace, guided by the same pull that had brought him to Vader before. Rebel fighters dived low over Naboo's lakes, dodging TIE fire reflected in the water like falling stars. At the palace steps, father and son met in the middle of the war. Luke raised his saber but did not attack. Vader lowered his own. "There is no time," Vader said. "The Emperor wants this world burned. He wants you angry. He wants you to kill me and become what replaces me." Luke searched the mask, as if he could see the man buried beneath it. "Then help us stop him." Vader turned toward the city, where smoke now climbed into Naboo's sky. "I do not know if there is anything left in me worth saving." Leia arrived behind Luke, blaster in hand, eyes full of fury and pain. "This is not about saving you," she said. "This is about what you do next." That was the moment, not in a throne room, not before a master. Here, between ruin and memory, with his children standing where Padme once stood against tyranny. Vader made his choice. He opened a direct channel to every Imperial unit on Naboo and gave one order: stand down. Any commander who fires again is my enemy. For one stunned heartbeat, the planet went quiet. Then the executor arrived. The Emperor had not sent a message. He had come himself. And over Naboo, the final war for the Skywalker bloodline was about to begin.